paper, fold it so that the number remains inside the fold and cannot be seen outwards. 5. With the ballot paper folded, go to the election officer in charge of the ballot box. They will stamp your ballot. 6. You will then drop the stamped ballot paper into the ballot box. You can then leave the polling station. Pretty simple. Remember, on the election day, the polling stations are open between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. Also remember to follow the COVID-19 safety guidelines for voters as instructed by the Ministry of Justice. Note: voting is not only a right but a duty. This information is provided by the Ministry of Justice Finland, supported by Municipal ry, Affairs ry, Heed Finland, and proudly brought to you by Nana TV International. For us, by us. Finland's municipal elections. Our election. Let your voice be heard. Come 13 June 2021, Finland will visit the polls to elect the councillors of the municipalities, with advanced voting between 26th May and 8th June, and those living abroad between 2nd and 5th June 2021. Before going to the polls, be sure to bring an identity card to the polling station, which may be an identity card, passport, driver's license, or similar pictorial document issued by the police. If you do not have such a document, you can apply to the nearest police station for a free temporary ID card to vote. To apply for it, you need 2 passport photos up to 6 months old. On election day, you may only vote at your own polling station, that is, at the polling station indicated on the ballot paper received by you. If for some reason you have not received the notification, you can inquire about it from the election service number 0800 94770. At the polling station, this is what you have to do. 1. Present your ID to the election officer. They will look for your name on the electoral roll and give you a ballot. 2. Go to the polling booth with the ballot paper. The booth has a pen and you can check your candidate's number from the combination of candidates list on the wall of the booth. If you need help making a vote,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to once again our election panel discussion, coming to you all the way from Helsinki, Finland. It's wonderful. Today we are having 8 candidates vying for a position in municipal elections from different political parties. This is great. We want to thank our viewers, all those that are online at this point already. And we ask you please share as you join so we can build the audience. Today we're having a very hot topic. It's going to be on housing. We all understand the importance of having a roof over your head. And many people in this country, immigrants in particular, have had difficulties having housing, different issues. So today we will be touching on many different subjects concerning housing. Prices of housing, discrimination in the rental housing market, homelessness services in Finland or in Helsinki to be specific or to be precise, complementary building and residential segregation. So please tighten your seatbelt and don't go anywhere because it is going to be hot. We have wonderful candidates here representing the different political parties who have taken upon themselves to provide answers to the different questions. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Emma Tamankak. I will be the host for this panel discussion today. And I'm having with me a co-host, not the other pilot of this plane. So bear with me, there's another pilot who is a co-pilot. Yes, before we start or go into the issue proper, the question is, what is our election? We say kaiken vaalit. What is our election? This is, we're having series of online election campaigns. This has been going on for a while now. But the reason why I want to talk to you a little bit about it, because there seems to be some confusion on what our election or kaiken vaalit is all about. So the purpose for this election panel is to raise current issues concerning all local residents in a diversifying and internationalizing Finland or Finnish society, And this means that we take into consideration or into account the themes of multiculturalism and equal participation. And the goal is basically to diversify the electoral debate. So that's why we're having different political parties represented today. And the campaign also aims to stimulate the interest of new Finns. We've been talking a lot about new Finns, and we want them to participate in social debates, and this way we can influence the views and decisions of the residents. So ladies and gentlemen, we are barely 5 days away from the advanced voting. I want to take you guys through before we start asking questions from the candidates. Please, this is very, very important that you share this video because we are talking about elections. Your vote, your voice. And during our last series, we talked a little bit about democracy education. We had a full 45 minutes discussion on why is the municipal election so important. And I want to be honest with you guys that after that series, we had a couple of calls from wonderful residents who were honest to say that we didn't know. We thought actually that the parliamentary election is more important. So we didn't know the importance of municipal election. So please, it is very important that we educate people. You are going to be voting for people who will make decisions on things that affects your life on a daily basis. We are not talking of yearly basis, every day. Things that affects your education, your children's education, your living. That is why today we are talking about housing, your health, and so on and so forth. So it is very, very important. I want to remind our viewers that advanced voting is going to begin already on the 26th of May and will end on the 8th of June. During this municipal election, the advanced voting time is a bit longer than usual, so you're having 2 weeks to do that. And the election day properly is on the 13th of June. And you might be wondering, who is eligible to vote? So I just want to take you guys a little bit through who can vote and who can't vote. So a person who reaches the age of 18 years on election day at the latest has the right to vote in the municipal elections in their own municipality. So we are talking of the municipality of residence. And in addition to that, Finnish citizens, we're talking about those citizens of EU member states, Iceland and Norway who have a municipality of residence in Finland and are also entitled to vote. And of course, other foreign citizens like myself are entitled to vote if they have had a municipality of residence in Finland for at least 2 years. So please, it is very important also to know one of the benefits of advanced voting. You don't have to wait to vote on the 13th. One of the benefits of advanced voting is that you can actually vote, you can choose the polling station freely of your choice. So you don't want to go on the 13th and queue somewhere, especially during this period that we're having COVID-19. So please make sure that you make use of the 2 weeks that you're having to cast your vote, your voice. We cannot overemphasize that. I would like to use this opportunity to thank Moni Heli that is supporting our election. And of course, our closest collaborators, we're talking about AFIS, RU, and Nana TV International. Special thanks to, of course, Nana TV International for providing such a platform for us. This platform has not been appreciated so much, but this is a great platform. It gives us an opportunity to talk about things that really matter. And of course, I would not want to forget our technical guy in the background, all the way from Canada. You're doing a fantastic job. So thank you very much. Now, I will go further by introducing my co-pilot, and he would take it from there. He would then introduce the other candidates. So with me today is somebody that I respect very much. You might want to know that is my better half. Yes, we do things together. He's one of those behind all the wonderful things that he has done so far. And whether we are talking about education, whether we are talking about integration or health, he is somebody that his heart is very, very close to the things, making sure that people are okay and any social injustice is something that he just cannot withstand. And that person is no other than Mr. Paul Tamantak. So please, my co-pilot, you are most welcome. And I'll hand it over to you.
Hey, I was thanking the host for the wonderful introduction. I think that's why it warms my heart to hear that. I think nobody should stand on the side of injustice. So that is a fight that everybody should get involved in. But I would want to, first of all, welcome our panelists and our viewers, and please share as you view, because this is about the elections, and I'm sure the candidates will benefit from this initiative. So to go on with the program, time is of the essence, many candidates involved. So what I would do is I would let the candidates introduce themselves, and this will be very brief. So you would state your name, the party you represent, and probably a little bit why you should be elected, or people should go for you. So I would go straight to the list. So if please, I said 2 minutes, so try to keep it 2 minutes. So I will start with Severi Virolainen from the Liberal Democrats. Please, can you introduce yourself? Thank you.
Yes, hello. So I'm Severi Virolainen from Liberal Party. And yeah, I'm 57 years old, architect, entrepreneur. I'm born in Helsinki, lived all my life in Helsinki. Also my parents have, so I'm very native here. 6 kids from 7 to 27 years. So I know about schools and whatever, healthcare and so on, my own experience. Generally, I like Helsinki very much. I like the nature, I like to see. And yes, and the housing questions will come later. Yeah, I use Helsinki in very many ways. So I kind of feel pretty home here, and I do everything what's available. Maybe that's enough. Or
all right, Severi, that should be enough. Thank you very much. I'm sure we will talk more as we go forward. So I would move to the next candidate, Tommy Aalto from the Blue Reform. Please, the mic is yours.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the panel. Thank you for having me as well.
Tommy, we can't hear you.
Hello, Tommy. Are you muted? Probably. Is Tommy on? Well, while Tommy is sorting out the technical issues, I will move on to the next candidate for time constraints. So I will take Nelly Karkainen from the Feminist Party if she's with us right now.
Unfortunately, Nelly is not with us.
All right, if Nelly is not with us, I would move on to Abin.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Tommy, we can hear you. Please go ahead. 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry for the problem. The computer connected to my headphones and changed the microphone.
It's all right.
So, as I was saying, thank you for having me as well. It's a very important topic that we're discussing today. My name is Tommy Aalto. I am from Blue Reform as well. And I'm running for the Helsinki City Councillor because I want to reduce inequality in Helsinki, strengthen and increase people's inclusion, community and tolerance amongst different groups of people. My background in politics comes partly from my own family background. My uncle was one of the formers of Perussuomalaiset very, very long ago. But since the party took its own life and went to the far right, became more ethno-nationalistic, we broke away, and now we're trying to build a new movement around inclusion and tolerance for everyone. And we don't have any own, what are they called? specific support groups. We want to further everyone's livelihoods in Finland. So pretty much, I've been working on ICT with all the major telecommunications operators in Finland for the last 12 years. The last 3 years since then on event industry, which is now completely shut down due to Corona. I've been unemployed for 10 months, and since the beginning of March, I've actually been homeless as well, looking for an apartment myself. So that is one of the reasons this topic touches me, myself, very importantly. Is there anything else? How much do I have time left?
No, Tommy, I think your time is
If I
good.
would say one more thing on the topic, like according to the Constitution, everyone who is unable to obtain the security required for a dignified life has the right to necessary subsistence and care. So in addition, the state has a duty to promote everyone's right to housing, and thus housing is a human rights issue, and its absence is unacceptable under any circumstances. So what we can say, like the homelessness is a very severe sign of this state's failure to safeguard human rights. On this notion, I give the floor to the next candidate.
Yes, wonderful, Tommy. I think your story resonates a lot with what we are going to talk about today. I'm sure you have a lot more to chip in, but thanks for the intro and welcome to this panel discussion. I would move on to Arvind Ramachandran from the Left Alliance. Please, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Paul and Emma. It's a pleasure to be invited to a panel where a foreigner doesn't have to talk about integration. And to start things off, my name is Arvind. I'm running on the Left Alliance list, and my number, as you can see in many places, is 597. And Severi and I share some stuff and we don't. I'm also an architect, but I am a newcomer to Helsinki. I've lived here 6 years. I've lived in Finland for 7 years in total. So I represent a new kind of Helsinkian and Finnish resident, somebody who's moved from abroad, who's lived all over the world, and who believes that Finland can be a home, not just for people who were born here and who have uncles who have started parties here, but also people who just got off and want to make a good life here. So in that sense, as you can see behind what I've written in Finnish, in English, that means no city dweller left behind. So I'm running on a platform which talks about including people from different backgrounds, different life situations, and also people from different neighborhoods. I think that's a big issue in Helsinki. There's too much inequality between the neighborhoods. So I'm running on this inclusive platform and on one issue like equality for all and good city life for all. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, wonderful. It's nice to hear those. And I would say inclusion is the bedrock of social welfare. If it's absent, I think there's a big problem. So thank you very much for the intro and welcome. I think this is the second time I'm seeing you, and welcome to this panel discussion. That said, I will move straight on to Alena Markava from the Christian Democrats. Please, the mic is yours.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Alena Markava. I represent the Christian Democrats Party. The values of this party are in many respects the same with my values. And my background is I was born in Belarus. I lived and studied in university in Russia. So I have lived in Finland for 14 years. And I have been working with Russian-speaking families for 10 years in Helsinki and Capital Regional. We help them and support in their own way. And being an immigrant, I know that is not easy, like you probably do. I think that the most important resource for any country is its people. Everyone has a right to a good life. Everyone has their own strengths and qualities that society needs. And Finland should use this resource in a good way. I believe that together we can do more, and housing is a good question today for discussing. Thank you.
Very, very touching. I think most of the candidates, they share a common view on this issue, that inclusion, unity in diversity, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much once more, and welcome to this panel discussion. Much appreciated. So I will move straight on to Marek Nekanda from the Pirate Party. Please, the mic is yours.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm Marek Nekanda from Pirate Party, as you said. I actually came to Finland and to Helsinki 7 years ago to like do my doctoral degree, and well, now I stay here with my family. I have 3 kids. I'm 30 years old actually, and well, I was a member of Pirate Party before I came here from the Czech Republic, because there it was basically the only acceptable political choice for me, as the big parties were totally corrupt. So it was natural for me to like continue in the Pirate Party here, as it represents transparent, democratic, and smart, data-driven decision making that cares about the environment and the people's needs. And I think this is something that is crucial in city planning and housing, especially. So, so this is it. I basically agree with what the previous candidates said. So let's see where the difference are, if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marek, and it was nice once more to have you. And we will talk more on this very pertinent issue as we move on. Thank you very much, and welcome to the panel discussion. I will move on to Wild Chablak from the Communist Party of Finland, SKP. Please, the mic is yours.
Me. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Wild Chablak, and I'm a youth coach and integration counselor. I studied forced migration and integration. I worked for a long time with the Red Cross in different locations, different positions in Finland, and I became interested quite much in integration, and I had a scholarship that allowed me to study furthermore integration and migration. I would like to mention that I do not represent SKP. I'm a member of Helsinki residence list, and the list contains Communist, SKP, SDP, Greens, and Independent. Personally, I'm independent, and in Helsinki's resident list, we have all agreed on main issues: residential problems, housing problems in Helsinki, integration, and green spaces. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much once more, and please welcome to this panel discussion. I'm sure your input will be very valuable. We appreciate your presence here. So
thank you. But I would like to mention again that I have no right to represent the SKP. I'm not a member of any party myself.
That note taken, sir. Thank you very much. I will move on to Benjamin Silvani from Social Democratic Party, SDP. So please, the mic is yours.
All right. Thank you for having me. It's great, and it's an interesting and important topic, perhaps the most important and interesting topic of this election. I'm Benjamin Silvani. I'm a son of an Italian immigrant. I'm born and raised in Helsinki, in the northeast of Helsinki. I come from the Social Democratic Party of Finland, which is a party I've chosen to join because I feel like it's the party that in the Finnish history and in future does the most to push the envelope for increasing the integration and increasing the accessibility of Finnish society to all members who participate in it. My background and my education is in tax law, and I do currently work in construction, in providing housing. I feel that the issues presented and discussed today are something we can solve. We do have the answers for solving affordable housing and housing crisis that's facing Helsinki right now. But I feel that the current political makeup of Helsinki Assembly does not have enough ambition to solve those issues, perhaps due to pressures to do politics that doesn't solve the housing issue. I do, however, feel like that increasing affordable housing, reducing the inequality between Helsinki areas, and engaging in more ambitious agenda to include all citizens and residents in Helsinki politics is the key answer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Benjamin, for being here. And I'm sure your input as well will be very valuable to this very pertinent topic we are discussing today, housing. Finland is becoming very heterogeneous, big and small families and different needs and demands and all that. I'm sure that should be considered in housing policies. I'm sure you will shed more light on that as we go forward. Thank you very much and welcome. But the last but not the least, Seda Sohrabi from the Kokoomus Party. Please, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm Seda Sohrabi. I am part of Kokoomus, National Coalition Party in English. And I was born in a refugee camp in Iraq, and I came to Finland when I was 5 years old, and we moved to Vaasa. It's in the west coast of Finland. And from there, I moved to Turku, and I studied in University of Turku, and I graduated and did my Master of Social Sciences, and there in the Contemporary History department. And I'm a Middle East and an immigration expert, and I've lived in Finland for 25 years. I joined Coalition Party for reasons of I want to make sure that we have our finance good in a good basic, so we can pay for our schools, our healthcare, our roads, and etc. So when we have jobs, when we have people doing good, have housing, have income, then we have the taxes that we can do good in our society. So that's one reason. And the second reason why I'm a member of Coalition Party is because it's not always about, okay, your rights, it's also about your responsibility, what we all can do for a better future, what I can do for my neighbors, what I can do for my country, what I can do for my self, so we can have more rights also. So responsibility is one big thing. And I want to defend welfare state because I've gotten myself a lot from welfare state, that we all are treated equally, that every citizen, no matter if they're a girl, a boy, immigrant, have an immigrant background, or they're native Finnish, they have same basic rights and same opportunities. And no one is left behind. And I want to prevent segregation in Helsinki. I don't want that certain areas in Helsinki that there is certain type of people that live in there. I want to mix areas, because I think segregation is one huge issue that we can face in the future more and more. I want to decrease polarization, and one of the things that I'm worried about is that we have less and less healthy conversation culture, where there is like a black and white of view how to see things, when I think that a majority of people understand that there's the gray area is much more. So no matter if we disagree or agree, I want people to hear each other. I want to do cooperation with other candidates, whoever is in the who gonna go through in municipal elections and be chosen to the seat of the council.
Right.
This was my part. I want to thank you all, and I hope we're gonna have a much more interesting conversation. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Seda. I think there's one thing that you guys share in common, that everybody is interested in social inclusion and rights for everybody, and the support of the social system. So I think that is something that I appreciate in all of you. So we will find out your differences probably as we go through the different questions. On that note, I would say that I would go back to the host. We will take it from here, and probably we'll start with the question session. So thank you guys once more for being here, and please, I really hope we'll have a constructive and enjoyable discussion. Back to the host. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And dear candidates, thank you so much for that intro. I think we're going to have a really, really interesting discussion today. I really like the fact that housing is something that means, well, like Tommy said, it is a human right. And homelessness is definitely one of the things that there shouldn't be any vibrant democracy that supports it. So I'm not sure why we were given this topic. I think it is because it is so important that housing was a theme on its own. And I would also want to throw it out there that listening to all of you, we didn't choose you guys. Your different political parties send your information to us, so we had no influence in who we are going to have today on panel discussion. And I think that there's definitely a strategic reason behind that, why your political parties decided that you will be representing them today. So, but I want to, before we go into the questions, I want to once again welcome our viewers, those that are joining us now. Please share as you join. Today is going to be a very interesting day. We're having a hot topic, housing. Everybody needs a roof above their head. Though without housing, homelessness is definitely a crime against humanity, if I may put it that way. And having a roof over your head is a human right. It's not something that you need to beg for. And please share as you join. I know some of you might have questions to the different candidates. If you are having a question to a specific candidate, please use the chat window, share your questions there, ask your questions there, and we will read those questions at some point. If question is directed to all the candidates, then you don't need to be specific. But if you're having a particular political party that you would like them to respond to that question, then please indicate there. If it's, for instance, ASDP, just indicate there that your question is directed to the one representing ASDP. So as we move on to the different questions, the first one is going to be on price of housing. Yes, price of housing. And please, dear candidates, you will each have 1 minute, 30 seconds to provide your answer to these questions. And I want to really beg on you to stick to the topic so we can have a structured conversation and save time. Finland is one of the most expensive countries when it comes to rents. And I'm sure you all agree, right? In private market, rental apartments and in housing companies, the rent level is high and there are increases in rent annually, even though incomes are not increasing at the same pace. There are also not enough affordable houses in Helsinki, with over 20,000 persons in the queue to Helsinki city rental apartments. So the question to you, fellow to-be councillors, how would you address this problem? In no particular order, I would like to start with Arvind, representing Left Alliance.
Yeah, so me being an architect and city planner, I'm forced to say that this is a problem that doesn't have one easy solution, but at least I think the city of Helsinki has been falling behind its targets of affordable housing for many years in a row now. And we are trying to clean it up, but like Benjamin said, the composition of the city council now does not allow us to, for example, create a red-green coalition to get through more affordable housing. So we have to work with parties that do not always agree with us on how important it is to get the affordable housing increase. So at least we've had some changes made. So we are going to increase the number of city apartments. So the city of Helsinki is a great player in terms of giving affordable housing. It's just that there's not been enough creation of affordable housing and the city has not been meeting its targets. So we are building enough, we are building thousands and thousands of units of housing are being added every year, but not the right kind of housing. So we are ending up destroying our forests to give houses for people who don't need them. So there's a huge mismatch. And again, I don't have one single solution to it except that vote for red-green parties so that we can create a coalition that can actually increase to realize what is promised. The city has promised a lot, but they have not met those targets. So we need to have a better, more people-friendly city council, at least next time, so that we can get through the implement the promises that are made. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arvind. So I will move next to Seida. Seda,
thank you
unmute
very much.
yourself.
Yes, thank you. Very interesting, the Left Alliance and then from there to Coalition Party. I think that this is a kind of a hard issue, but if I'm being honest, I think the one problem is that if there is people that do not afford to live in Helsinki, live still in Helsinki with the welfare, they get welfare payments from Kela, and then if we afford people that don't really have money to live here, that's from other people. But then if we build more houses, which we need, then we should think about the environment and the nature that we have in Helsinki. I'm not for building more in the name of building in the areas where there is green. Then again, I think that we should make people or kind of motivate them to think about moving to other parts of Finland than in Helsinki. Actually, in the Corona time, there have been a lot of people that have moved from Helsinki because it's very expensive to live in here. I've noticed when I've lived in Vaasa and Turku, I've seen that Helsinki is very expensive, and it's sad. It's sad that the rents are going up, and the more they are going up, then Kela has to pay more housing allowances to those people that need that payment. So I think we need more building houses, but it should be made in a smart way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Seda, for that. And then I will move to the youngest of the panelists, youngest candidate, that is Benjamin. What are your thoughts on this?
So I feel that moving to Kerava is not a solution to housing problems in Helsinki. That's not sustainable politics from Helsinki City Assembly to encourage people to move away from Helsinki, and that's certainly not a good idea for future. I think we should keep people who wish to live in Helsinki. I think that's a given, and that's some need we should address. How we address this need is to increase the housing stock at a faster pace than the population grows. Right now, I've estimated the number to be at around 12,000 housing units annually. Meanwhile, the city is growing at around 6,000 to 8,000 units annually. Helsinki grows mostly and will grow in the near future to old industrial areas such as old harbors, and by increasing housing density in current housing areas. These two methods of growing mostly do not endanger the green areas of Helsinki, and I'd wager we've conserved more nature than we've built the environment in the last 5 years or so. I feel that the institutional resources of Helsinki should be increased to the pace where it should be able to provide those 12,000 units of housing. And with the MAL agreement between Helsinki and the Finnish state, 30% of all housing built in Helsinki should be affordable housing, which makes the mechanism of increasing affordable housing very clear. Build more. Building more also includes building better infrastructure to service those people who move to these new areas or areas that get increased density, which basically requires better motorways or better railway connections, which is an ambitious urban movement strategy. I think we should be increasing the amount of trams and the amount of railway lines, and in general the level of quality in public transportation, so that we don't have to build more car-oriented cities in the future, but more public transportation-oriented cities. But the key is to build more right now. That's the institutional framework we're working in. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Benjamin. I get you. Thank you. So I will move on to Alena.
So Helsinki is a capital, and like
Yes.
all the capitals in the world, it attracts people to live and work here. The issue of housing provision is quite complex today in Helsinki, yeah. And obviously, to solve this problem, we should build houses so that everyone who needs could find his own place in the city. There, where it's possible, houses can be tall. We can continue to create residential areas involving residents of districts in a dialogue at the stage of construction planning, I think so. And regarding the cost of housing, yeah, housing is expensive. To reduce the cost of housing, building and maintaining should be cheaper. This is a big change, and it takes a lot of people to solve it. It may be worth thinking of timber construction as an alternative. Hopefully, this will be one of the options to keep the rental price at a reasonable level. Also, we should think about opportunity for young people and older people to receive housing at a lower prices than working age population. This is my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Alena. Wow, interesting. Let's hear all the thoughts and then I can come in. So I will be moving on to Seferi. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, a bit different.
And I would like to remind you, what we are talking about. We are talking about price of housing.
Yeah.
We need affordable houses. We have over 20,000 people in queue to Helsinki city rental apartments at the moment. The prices of private apartments are going up, even though the income is not going up at the same pace. So, my dear Seferi, what are your thoughts? How would you address the problem?
It is a difficult problem, as everybody has said here. There's not like a easy solution or one solution to that. Generally, I think we should use market pricing, and the public sector should be smaller, so and taxes should be lower. So it's, yeah, there shouldn't be too much support and kind of a publicly financed rents or something like that. For example, I have an apartment. I've given an apartment for rent, and half of the rent comes from Kela, and then I pay taxes, and Kela gets money and pays it, and so it just doesn't make any sense. And I think Kerava, for example, is a solution. It takes 20 minutes with the train there. It's actually faster than from my home inside Helsinki to go to the center, and you get to the railway station in the real center. So it's, yeah, I really think it's a solution. I have many friends who choose to live far away because they can have a bigger one-family houses, and they come by car and they are in the traffic jam and so on. But so, yeah, people should compromise on what they can afford and what they want and what are their values. If I decide to live in Manhattan, New York, I cannot start complaining that the rents are too high. It's my decision to go there.
Okay.
So sorry for this. I understand it's not kind of a kind answer.
You don't need to agree with each other. Absolutely. This is a debate. And don't forget that if you have a counter, argument, you can always step in for 30 seconds and counteract, or oppose what the other candidate is saying. Alvin, before I move to well.
I'm sorry, I just have to step in here. I'm from the Left Alliance, and it's actually more expensive to live further away if you have a low-income job. We cannot go down the road that cities like London and New York have gone through. We are using the wrong example that people have to take a train for an hour to come here and clean and go back while we enjoy the city of Helsinki. So this is extremely, so another candidate has a tagline in our party, hate poverty, not the poor. And I think policies like this, that you can go in Kerava if you don't afford Helsinki, is actually hating the poor people instead of hating poverty. And I really encourage to also voters to think about, like, do you want to get pushed out to Kerava by voting for candidates who just say that you chose Helsinki, why are you complaining? Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I come in here?
Yes,
for 30 seconds.
Yes, so
yes.
we can hear the others' viewpoints on this. Yes, Seda, just briefly.
Yeah, yes, briefly. Like Liberaalipuolue said, for example, there's going to be a train connection between like Turku and Helsinki. It's going to be 1 hour. I live myself in Kalasatama. When I went to school to teach, it took me in Helsinki 1 hour. And now there's connection being built between, or it's going to be built between Turku and Helsinki, and it's going to be about 1 hour. So I think when we have better connections between cities and towns, that's one way to solve this issue. When people move to the areas of Helsinki, then there's going to be a pressure to Helsinki to lower the prices because people will move to other places close to Helsinki.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Seda. So well now, what are your thoughts on this? You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, I have lots of things to mention. First, I don't want to live in Turku and work in Helsinki. I don't want to turn Helsinki into New York, where Manhattan is a great part of a city, but 10 minutes car drive away from Manhattan, you will see slums. I don't want to turn Helsinki into New York. I don't want to live in New Jersey and work in New York and suffer in going around with metro. I think that health and housing it cannot be used as a tool to make huge profits. The cost of building a house, the cost of concrete is uncomparable to the cost of houses. When you want to buy a house, you pay 300 times more in euros than the cost of concrete itself. This is unfair. When I came to Finland, I mean, back so many years ago, the Helsinki municipality was the greatest landlord in Helsinki area. Nowadays, private sector is the biggest landlord.
Yes.
It's not allowed. I mean, okay. Let's. There'll be other related questions. Let me not jump into next questions.
Yes.
But
thank you.
This is the main idea.
Yeah, we get you. Well, we don't turn Helsinki into New York. We get your point. So let's have Marek before we get Tommy then.
Yeah, thank you. So I think that the increasing of the capacity of affordable housing is essential, and that will also lead to to lowering. If we increase the enough capacity of the municipal housing and so on, then it will decrease the demand on the private market and also therefore lowering the prices there. So I think this is essential. That this is something we have to do, and that's a matter of political decision. How do we give the cities land? Who should take profit from that? Should we let for-profit landlords to profit on this, or should we just give equal opportunities to people? And I'm also against this idea that we should let people commute from Kerava or Turku, because even if you have 1 hour, the one way, first it's quite an insane amount of time by itself, and the second thing is that it's usually from the center to the center. It's not like you can move from periphery of Kerava to some, I don't know, let's say Otaniemi, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you encourage commuting by car, then you need to have the infrastructure. It's environmentally unfriendly. So in the end, it's much, even in the economic sense, much better to provide the sufficient housing capacity where people work, where people study. So I think
thank you very much. Thank you, Marek, for that point. Benjamin, because we're running out of time, let's give an opportunity to Tommy. to say something? Tommy, are you there?
Thank you. Thank you. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so that took a long time. As we all know, living expenses and housing costs in Helsinki are too high, and I agree with that. We have to move away from the system where foreign investors dictate our housing markets. We need to take it back into control. While in principle, anyone can be left homeless, the risk of homelessness affects different people in very different ways. The risk of being homeless is higher for those on low incomes, those with an immigrant background, and those with substance abuse and mental health problems. In growth centers like Helsinki, high rents and a shortage of affordable rental housing create homelessness. A high rent alone can lead to a part of the rent not being paid each month, which will ultimately lead to the loss of the apartment.
Yes.
Common situations for losing of a home include crises such as divorce or legal separation, unemployment, illnesses, or death of a spouse. Factors explaining homelessness of immigrants include the weaker labor market position of the entire population, lower income levels, placement in predominantly rental housing, and discrimination in the private rental housing market. The previous government's cuts in social security and increasing the conditions for unemployment security activity increased inequality. The corona pandemic that broke out in early 2020s is very likely to be reflected in the homelessness situation during the current year. So my solution for tackling the prices of housing for the next council would be first, guarantee equal pay for healthcare workers in Helsinki as they get in the neighboring municipalities, which now we pay them lower salaries. And another solution would be to halt the increases of rent for the next 2 years at least.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, quite solution oriented. Thank you very much. Benjamin, briefly before we round up, what do you have to say about this? Just briefly.
I want to compliment. Sure. I want to compliment on the excellent point brought up by Marek, which played on the interplay between housing by the city, housing private housing, and the private housing market, seeing them as different spheres that don't interact with each others. Housing currently is a bit of a log jam in Helsinki. There's demand on all sectors. And if we solve one sector, that reduces the pressure on other sectors because people move from owning houses to renting houses to living in socially assisted houses to living in student houses, for example. So easing in the situation of student housing eases the situation on or the demand for private markets and so on. So it's a logjam, and it's an excellent point you made.
Yes, thank you for that support there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you to our viewers online and see what they are asking or their comments. We can see Nordic Carbon, we can see Ms. Fatima Usman, aka Mama Africa. We can see Sister Oge watching, Karen, Chelsea, Patricia, Dr. Bilola, Elena, and so many others. Couple of comments that I would like to read to you guys. Dr. Bilola says housing is a very important topic, so she's all ears. And Elena says, great Alvin. Supporting, you have a supporter there. And then we have Sister Oge saying, in all capital cities in the world, rent is expensive, including in Sweden, Abuja, and London. So get that. And then Karen says, indeed, salaries and rentals is not complementing each other. That's very true. And then Patricia says, I agree with the candidate that said we should encourage people to also get accommodation outside Helsinki. Helsinki is a small city and will soon be saturated, which will lead to environmental problems. And yes, environmental problems. So that's definitely something that needs to be considered. And then Sister Oge also says investors have hijacked the apartments and change or charge high prices, which is what I think Tommy also mentioned. Yes, and weaker labor market for foreigners is indeed a problem. That's from Heat, Finland. Yeah, so thank you guys very, very much. And we will be moving now to the next question. Time, unfortunately, is not on our side, but the key things that have come up in this discussion is you have people who are saying that people should move out of Helsinki if they are not able to pay for the rents, the high rent in Helsinki, and others saying that no, it's actually not a strategic thing to get people to move or out of Helsinki. So our dear viewers, you've heard both sides, and of course you can be the judge. So I will hand over to the co-host to ask the next question.
Thank you very much, Emma, and thank you guys very much for your great input. I think if I would draw any conclusion, I would say that there are several issues involved in the housing problems, and all the parties brought different perspectives. I'm sure, like somebody said, when you combine all this, I'm sure we will forge a better solution to the problem. No one party can solve this problem. So I would say that. The next question will be dwelling on discrimination. And from your discussions, I would say this question is more tuned to cultural or racial discrimination. But from all what you said, I also figure out there is socioeconomic discrimination, which means that if you are less privileged, you are pushed out. And I think that doesn't reflect well with the social welfare state. And we cannot compare it to New York and all that, which are all capitalist inclined. So I think the social welfare concept should be preserved as much as possible, which means the weak are taken in and helped, not that the weak are thrown out. I would like us to keep that in perspective. But the question reads thus. Studies show that people with names that sound foreign get less responses from the landlords when contacted compared to people with Finnish or Swedish sounding names. This makes it more difficult for people to find an apartment from the private rental market. What could be done to tackle this issue? Okay, I'm sure we have touched this in our previous questions, so let's keep our answers brief as much as possible so time is on our side. So I would go again in the same order I went the previous time. So Severi Virolainen, please, from the Liberal Democrats, can you share your insight to this question?
Yeah, this is a quite general problem and old problem also. So I don't know how to solve it, but the time is solving it because we are getting more and more used that there are more and more foreign names in Helsinki or in Finland in general. So we are getting very used to that we have now some basketball players and a lot of foreign names and different looking people. And it just takes some generation to, I don't know any better answer to that. Of course, there are laws, but we already have the laws against the discrimination and so on. So the rest is like soft development.
All right, Severi, thanks very much. Like I said, these problems sometimes are more complex and will not take one solution or one idea to solve them. So we will get from the other candidates what the ideas that they have, and we see how we go from here. So Tommy Aldo, please, the mic is yours.
Thank you. I would say inequality is one of the leading causes of homelessness. A prerequisite for a credible homelessness policy is the reduction of inequality. In Finland, we have a lot of stigma associated with being homelessness. If you get or become homeless, we always kind of like assume you did something wrong, it's your own fault, and kind of like take care of it. So the most effective way to address homelessness is to break the stigma associated with homelessness, and secondly, to offer the person an apartment, either through affordable housing programs or other means, a home with their own keys and a lease. Only then can the problem of homelessness can be treated and rehabilitated to get them back on their feet and back to work. It's not so simple solution, of course, even to this question, but I think this is a good start. Briefly, but I give the floor to the next candidate.
All right, Tommy, thank you very much for your input. So I would move on to the next candidate on our list, Arvin. Please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, at least for this one, I have a simple solution. It's kind of a solution of two birds with one stone: more public housing, more institutional housing. So I'm talking about cooperatives, NGOs being allowed to be landlords. I'm a leftist. I don't agree that individual landlords and foreign companies try to mess people around. I know that the only time I've gotten houses from the rental market is when a company with a clear agenda to provide housing, like a student housing company or the city, a company that clearly is not legally allowed to discriminate, because this is where you hit a wall in Finland. A private owner is allowed to choose their tenant. And of course, in a country like Finland, and I disagree with people who think this just improves with time, I think the Roma will tell you that this does not improve with time until you actively influence this. We are talking about a country which was light on top of the list when you asked African origin people where they faced most discrimination in the European Union. So we need a policy, a citywide policy, and especially Helsinki can show an example as a landlord for thousands and thousands of people, how to treat people as humans and not based on what their name is. So I think Helsinki city can have a really overarching policy of how to be a good landlord and sort of show by example how the private landlords are also supposed to work. And if they're not willing to treat tenants as people and they're discriminating, I think then we should also have a lot of support from city to help people take this forwards. Because if we make an example of 5 cases where people face discrimination, I think the next 5 landlords will think really a long time before they start doing this, because this is a really, really acute problem. And I don't think we are ready to wait that our children will maybe get a home or our grandchildren will have a Finnish enough name. So I think we have to use all sort of ways where the city can both give its own apartments in a fair manner, but also create this kind of collaborations with the NGOs, for example, to give people help when they face this discrimination in the private market.
Yes, very concrete ideas and solutions proposed there. And I would want to say that it's a social welfare state, and I think the government should have authority and should have regulations and caps on rents. That this is not Manhattan, this is not America. So I think if we want to maintain the social welfare state, we should have laws and regulations that guide our activities, even those who are venturing to the private sector. They cannot just get everything they want. The government, I think, should play a bigger role here. So thank you very much, Arvind, for your contributions. I would move straight to Alena. Please, the mic is yours.
Yeah. So difficult question actually, and I think that this is primarily a question of distrust. The homeowners want to be sure that the apartment will be okay and they will not have problem in the future. So this is understandable. I would think about how to increase the level between foreigners and the population with Finnish or Swedish surnames. We must work for approachment and build a bridge of trust between the people who live in our city. And also it would be wise to increase the number of public housing. In this case, it will be more accessible for people, and also the cost of the renting of public housing is lower than renting in the private market. Thank you.
Very, very good point there. I would say, it's about attitude and perceptions. So if there's no trust, of course, and I think the immigrants are at least trusted in the Finnish society. I hope that is not too far from the truth. So I think we have to find ways to build trust, and I think that will go a long way. Thank you very much, Alena, for your contribution. So I'll move to Marek. Please, the mic is yours.
Yeah. So, well, I think I can from my own experience say that if you come here as a foreigner, you either will end up pay more because you will need to go to an apartment which no Finnish person would even consider because of the price or maybe of the quality of the housing. So yes, this is really happening, and this happens often until you are lucky enough to like either if you're rich enough to afford your own apartment or lucky enough to get municipal or some public apartments. So I think the problem here is that although we have laws against discriminations, those are things that you cannot usually prove that are happening. So the most obvious and best way to tackle this issue is to increase the capacity of the public housing or the NGO and so like this kind of institutional housing that has objective criteria on how the like apartments are assigned. So this is the way I think.
Yes, thank you very much. And I would like to remind our panelists and our viewers that we are focusing on discrimination based on your origin. So if your name is not has any Finnish or Swedish inclination, you have the risk of not having an apartment when you apply for one. So let's stay focused and try to bring solutions to how we can solve these problems. So I would move straight to Weil from the Communist Party. Please, the mic is yours.
Oh, okay. Once again, I'm from Helsinki residence list. Yeah, and Helsinki resident list has some communists in. I mean, we are 26 persons. Some of us are independent, and some are communists. Some are social democrats, and some are green. Anyhow.
So sorry for that once more. I wouldn't repeat itself.
And I have no legally I have no right to represent one of them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well understood.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, anyhow, I personally I work in an NGO that supports young people to put their life together. That means I support them in finding a job, in finding proper school, and in finding a house, a key in their pocket. And this is very difficult. And I mean, I have to grab the phone and call all the day because I have a customer or there is a young person with a foreign background that nobody wants to support him or help him in finding a house. Their social system drop out. Their social worker isn't ready for them to support them. They have no in most of the cases they have no language skills in order to find the house. They are untrained or they are too shy to fight for their rights. So somebody have to fight for them. And whenever there is a private apartment owner that is willing to rent a house for a colored Finn, a Finnish citizen that, for example, was born in Finland, but he is a colored Finn. But anyhow, I'm losing focus on the subject. But in any case, this private house owner wants to to rent the house at the highest possible rent that he can. So the apartment is quite small, and the rent premium is quite high. The Helsinki Kaupunki doesn't do anything to help this. Instead, Helsinki Kaupunki is building luxury houses at an expensive premium in order to segregate areas. We
talk about segregation.
Okay.
Yes. Well, thanks for that.
Anyhow, the solution is to build affordable houses for everybody. It's not allowed for anybody to be homeless at any cost. Kaupunki municipality is responsible for this.
Thank you very much for that emphasis, and I think that is the bedrock of the social welfare state. Nobody should be left homeless. Nobody should be left behind. I think all this beautiful work should be translated into actions, and I'm sure the municipalities have a big responsibility. Thank you very much for that. Okay, Benjamin, please, the mic is yours.
All right, I think there's been a lot of discussion about social housing markets, and consensus is that they provide houses with objective criteria that doesn't take one's ethnicity or the implied ethnicity of their name into account. And that's all fine and good. And as a solution, it works to some extent, but the social housing market represents around 1/4 of Helsinki's whole housing market right now, and it cannot be the only solution. We shouldn't have name-based discrimination in any sphere of housing markets. I think that's right now an important and sort of difficult issue to tackle due to the mismatched relationship between our judicial system of Finland and the political system of Finland. There's no clear one party who's responsible for tackling the issue. There's the Office for Equality, there's the general police system, there's the local government, there's the national government, there's all sorts of different actors who have different interests and different priorities, which unfortunately doesn't seem to be to actually improve equality on this matter. Concrete solution would be to lobby the private market companies which control a large portion of the Finnish housing stock in Helsinki, such as Sato, such as Kojamo, such as companies such as this, Vuokraturva, to start using anonymous letters. So when you're applying for an apartment, your name isn't included, and hence it cannot be used in discriminating. Using more anonymous processes is becoming more common in nations such as the United Kingdom, which, while not equal in many manners, are able to tackle racial issues with much more tact than Finland has been able to in the past.
Wow, thank you very much. I think being anonymous will go a long way if only we can kind of integrate that kind of system in the housing market. That will definitely go a long way. Thank you very much for that contribution, Benjamin. So we will have Seda, the last but not the least, to round up this question, and then we'll move to the next. Seda, the mic is yours.
Thank you. I think Elena said something very, very important, and that is that we need trust between different ethnic groups, between the native Finns and those that have the immigrant background. I think getting people more together in this manner is the most important thing to tackle this. And then the second thing is that I think we need, like Benjamin said, anonymous applications coming in for the municipal level. Like, we can do that. But I think because the question, I want to make clear that the question is for the private rental market. And because it's a private, the city really can tackle that easy than with the municipality level. But I think that we can tackle it with good relations, trust, and then, of course, if we can provide them the private rental market, hey, we can use anonymous application, anonymous way to get rental houses, that they could take that path. That would be something that could be good to tackle this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Seda, for that last contribution. I think we will move to the next question on our list. So I will give I'll give the mic back to the host of this event. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, dear candidates, for that wonderful contribution, and also to our viewers online. Please share as you join. Today we are talking about housing, Helsinki to be precise, and lots of ideas on how we can make things better. And we're moving on. This is actually a follow-up question, because discrimination in the rental market is one of the reasons why the percentage of people who are homeless is actually going up. And then, as per the statistics, 34% of people experiencing homelessness that live alone in Helsinki have and have a migrant background. Okay, so we have 34% of those. Somebody that either live alone and have a migrant background. And the percentages are even higher for families experiencing homelessness. So we are talking about, family, children are involved here. How do you live? How do you become a homeless person with children? This is unheard of. And my question to you is, do you think that the current homelessness service in Helsinki addresses the diverse needs of people experiencing homelessness? And keep in mind that we are talking about, migrants here. The percentage is quite high compared to the native Finns. And we just heard previously that you get an apartment basically, or pretty much, or it depends on your surname, if you are Virolainen or Makkinen, or a name that is very, very Finnish. So what do we do? How do we tackle this problem? Do you really think that the homelessness services are up to date and addresses the needs of these people? And this is a follow-up question. So I would say that anybody that has, because some of you have touched on homelessness already. So is there anybody that wants to contribute something to this question? Yes, Arvin?
Yeah, I think also we have to be very also aware that what Helsinki city councillors say and what they do is very different. So irrespective of parties, a lot of city councillors who sit now have said that they want to reduce homelessness. But at the same time, Helsinki city has cut, for example, 66 places just last year. In a city the size of Helsinki, 66 places for people without homes to find temporary accommodation before they get a home is already a huge number. And so there's been a lot of policies where support has been cut for in various ways. And at least in Finland, it's like homelessness is usually often linked to some other issue, like addiction or unemployment and so on and so forth. And minorities are exceptionally represented in these statistics as well, especially unemployment. So we're talking about a system that leaves migrants out in so many ways that it's also reflected in the homelessness. So I know the topic is only housing, but the solutions can't always just be housing. So we need a sort of something that treats all people in the city as equal or as equally valuable for the city, So somehow we are still like 2/3 of Helsinki city councillors live in or close to the city center. We have people in Kalasatama saying, why don't you live in Kerava? You see this clash here. The people who are deciding are not the people experiencing these. The people who have never lived these realities are deciding for people who are. So I think also we need to listen to the people, at some point also we need to have politicians who listen, and not just once in 4 years, and not just when you're giving out flyers in Hakaniemi and Tori, but actually continuously listen to what the people want. Because I also think that Helsinki has 630,000 people, and each of them know what they need in their life. The sad part is that the 85 councillors always don't know that. So in a broader view, I think we need to listen to the people more and give them, without any prejudice, the support they need, instead of saying this is the homeless policy, So a lot more understanding in a micro level.
Yes, thank you so much, Arvin. I have to agree with you. It is very important, and that's one of the responsibilities of the city council or so. You are for the people, so you have to listen to the people and table before, the others, what the actual needs of the people are. So thank you very much for that point.
Thank you. I would like to add, I totally agree with the previous speaker, but I would also say, like, we need to have the parties accountable for the actions. For example, this council term, Vihreät, Kokoomus and SDP, who've been talking for families. They are the ones who've actually cut down from family support this season. For example, the Helsinki Lisä for children up to, it used to be up to 3 years. Now they cut it down to only to 1 year, which will affect the poverty in families greatly, especially during the Corona time. But also I would like to overhaul our social service system in Helsinki, from the Helsinki Social Services and Kela as well, because they keep pushing people from one shop to another, from one counselor to another. It should be all rethought again, so the people would be heard and they would get the need that they require quickly, on time, precisely.
Yes. Thank you, Tommy, for that very important addition. Thank you. Any other candidate want to throw more light or jump in on this issue? Homelessness. If not, we can move to the next topic.
Thank you very much, Emma. I think most of the questions are interconnected. You talk about one, you talk about almost every one of them.
Yes.
So like
Absolutely.
you did with the previous question, I will not ask everybody to comment. You comment if you deem it necessary, because these are some of the things that have been touched already or addressed already in the previous questions. So this question has to do with complementary building. Helsinki has a plan to build thousands of new apartments. The next municipal council will decide on where these new apartments should be built. The options in the discussion have been to conserve the green areas and parks, to build higher blocks, to demolish old buildings, or to concentrate on complementary buildings. What is your perspective on what the future Helsinki should look like and where these apartments should be built? So please, if you have a contribution to this, please feel free, just indicate, and the mic will be yours. Yes, go ahead, please, Benjamin.
Sure. All right. Traditionally, the growth trajectory of Helsinki since World War II has been to grow in scale, but not in density. That's meant growing more into the suburbs, away from the downtown Helsinki, to build further away from the center. This has been facilitated by the improvement in transportation systems, which allows people to live further away, still roughly all the same distance to work and other related services every single day. Right now, we've reached the borders of Helsinki effectively in all areas. We've reached the border with Espoo, which is very densely populated, and the border with Vantaa, which is quite densely populated as well. That means that for Helsinki to grow and not sacrifice its green areas, which literally no one is planning to sacrifice, we have to grow more dense. Basically, what that means is to grow to old industrial areas, such as old harbors, of which Kalasatama and Jätkäsaari and Ruoholahti are examples of. In addition, we need to grow existing areas into more dense ones, which is going on in Vuosaari, in Merenrastel, for example, where much of the nature is preserved and will be preserved. And I think that's a very good idea to preserve most of nature. By increasing the density, in general, increase the level of quality of urban planning. The dense areas are more desirable to be lived in, less densely populated areas in Helsinki. I think the future of Helsinki is to grow on the few remaining industrial areas that are connected to the downtown with good transportation links, such as the Herttoniemi industrial area, which has enough land for around 30,000 new residents, are not having any significant nature to be sacrificed for this new population growth. In addition, turning old motorways into urban boulevards allows those boulevards to be increased with high-density housing on the edges of those boulevards, which allows for around 20,000 to 50,000 people to receive housing at premium locations, very good locations in places such as Haga or I think the general discussion in which we try to make that there is this competition between nature and a city, I think it's an artificial one, and it doesn't really represent the realities of urban planning in Helsinki.
Thanks, Benjamin. I think that is really, you talk like an expert, because you know the areas, and you talk more of density growth, not spreading the houses everywhere. So we can make good use of our space that we already have and connect them to the different road infrastructures and all of that. So good points there. I don't know if any other person has something to say on this question. Please just indicate.
I could quickly say on, if I can have the floor.
Yes, Tommy.
Helsinki is, is my mic on? Yes, sorry. Historically, Helsinki has a lot to offer, and with new complementary building, we should try to avoid growth for the sake of growth, to grow for the city, for the people, and by the people's needs. And I say we do have to protect the nature that we have. It is very important for people's outdoor activities, for their mental health, but also it is important for the city to grow sustainably all the time. But it needs to do it in a way that protects the historic values of both environment and the city itself. So I would say, instead of always zoning new areas, we can convert old building, old factories into housing blocks as one solution as well, trying to create more vibrant environment, as they've done in Pasila and some other places in Helsinki.
Yes,
if I can comment in here
yes,
too,
please.
for a short moment. I think we should think about like longer, higher buildings. That's one option. And as the Sinis had said, I think we shouldn't jeopardize the green areas, because nature is very, very important, not just for Finns, but also for every human being. We need nature, we need green areas. And I think where there is empty buildings or empty areas or old places, we can build in there. Kalasatama and the area in here, or Laajasalo and the broader area is one good option. But we need to have also the good connections to the city, so people can work, can come to the city centers to enjoy. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Seda. And I think, if I would say, I think technology gives us a lot of tools to maximize our spaces and make it more affordable. So we should probably look to that direction, how technology can revolutionize how we build and where we build. I'm sure we can do that to create affordable houses for everybody and preserve the social welfare state in which we live in. Thank you very much, Seda, for that. Any other contribution to this? If not, I will move to the next question.
I would just shortly react. Yeah, one thing that technology. Yeah, thank you. Technology can also improve like the way of transportation and the infrastructure in the whole. So actually, like this also complements the more dense building that has been already mentioned. And also when we are talking about like complementary building, well, it already includes, for example, like by building higher blocks and so on. So like there are many ways of complementary building. So it's not like building blocks, building higher blocks or complementary building, but it might be already included there. So yes, this is it. Like more dense, higher buildings, and definitely we should preserve the nature. Like there is, I think there is like Helsinki can still grow upwards. It doesn't have to eat all the green that we have left here.
Yes, that's true. Look at Singapore. Look at most of the great cities. I think they have kind of benefited from that. You know, you grow vertically, not laterally. So that's a good point there. Thank you very much for that.
Yes.
I would have a fast comment, if I could just add to this. Me as a citizen, I have to be asked, what is my opinion on this. I mean, we have engineers, we have environmental planners. They can build anything. But me as a citizen, somebody has to ask me, what are your needs? I need a school for my children near but near the block where I live. I need a health center that is nearby. I need the grocery store nearby. I need a library. It's very important to ask the citizens. The citizens of Helsinki wants to be a part of the process. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yes, very good point there. I think that's what we call universal participation, that the people should be able to participate in the process. So at the end of the day, their needs will be met. Otherwise, we will just be providing houses that doesn't meet their needs. So thank you very much for that clarification as well. Unfortunately, I'll move to the next questions and then and then we try to round up as soon as we can. Time is not on our side. So I will give the mic back to the host. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamankat, and for the participants. Seferi, I'm going to start with you. The next question is on residential segregation. Well already touched a little bit on this, but this is a very, very important because it's so topical when we're talking about Finland that is becoming a heterogeneous society. So, and we know probably what's been happening in Central Europe and other countries, and when we talk about segregation and the consequences of that. So in Finland, inequality has been strengthening in a way that the gap between those who are doing well and those who are the worst off is increasing. This phenomenon reflects also in the differences between the areas. Even though the residential segregation in Finland is considered moderate, but you can see that it's a trend that is growing. The question to you, fellow candidates, is how should we develop Helsinki in a way that we would prevent further segregation between different neighborhoods? This is a very important question. So I will start with Seferi. Please, we all have 1 minute because we are running out of time. Yes, thank you.
So yeah, I totally agree that that is a trend and it's not a very good one. So it's quite easy to solve. I think it's in the city planning that you mix the different kind of apartments, the city-owned rental apartments and owned private apartments, and you could also mix them inside one building that you have, that Helsinki could buy some of the apartment in a kind of a private building and then rent those out. So you really mix people, so they live in the not in the same staircase, not only in the same area. That's just
thank you, Seferi, for
do that.
Yes, thank you very much. So I'll move to Seida.
Yeah, I need to agree with thank you. Is my mic? I think my mic is on. Yeah, I have to agree with the liberaalipuolue Severi. So I think one of the ways to tackle this is to have different kind of people from different ethnic backgrounds, from different ages, to live nearby. I think one of the things that I want to see in Finland is that elderly people live close by with children, because children will benefit from the elderly, and especially elderly people will benefit from the children when they see them and they can maybe play in the same area or see them, because there's a lot of loneliness in Finland. And when you see different kind of people coming together and living in the same areas, not one area is left behind. I think that is one thing we need to do, and most important thing that the city Helsinki can do.
Thank you very much. And then we move over to Benjamin. What are your thoughts?
Right. I think this is a key question to answer in this debate panel, what we want to call it. I think it touches upon the issue brought by Alena on community building and trust between communities in Helsinki. I think what the Helsinki government or the municipal government of Helsinki should do is to even out differences between areas. It should not allow segregation between areas. And what this means is that every area should offer housing for every single housing type. Every single area should include a roughly similar proportion of social housing, private housing, of owned housing and rented housing. What this does is it evens out different social groups, even in the city, and it prevents the overstacking of social issues that currently quite often do sort of stack in several different areas in mostly suburban Helsinki, such as Jakomäki or Merirastila, which both are over 40% social housing. Meanwhile, we have areas such as Eira or Ulalin, which are 0% social housing.
Yes.
The government has, and the local government has taken a very ambitious goal to even out this to around a similar proportion in every new area. For example, Kalasatama, from which Seida hails, does have quite a lot of social housing, as does Jätkäsaari, which I do find to be a very good solution in the long term.
Yes.
And right now the question is about how can we sort of improve the old areas such as Merirastila, Jakomäki, or Tapulikaupunki, or all areas in which I've lived in. And then the solution is to even out the distribution of different housing types to be more with the baseline of Helsinki.
Thank you. Thank you.
Correct. And I'm sorry, it's just small. When we have social housing in every part of Helsinki, and every single citizen has social connections to people who inhabit social housing, the trust and the rift between social and non-social housing dwelling and inhabitants of those dwelling will be lowered. The key to trust in society is to be able to connect with other people and connect to people's issues. People who research shows that people who have contacts who live in or come from poor economic situations are feel more solidarity towards those people. And I feel like if we do let Helsinki to segregate into several strong and weak areas, the solidarity between the people in Mellunmäki and Etutöl will be lost.
Yeah, thank you very much for that contribution. Very important. Like I said, we're running out of time, so I will try to avoid commenting after each speaker. So Arvind, what are your thoughts on this?
I think we have to be very honest about this. The segregation question has been asked about in so many election discussions and also in all the election compasses. To me, as a brown man, I just see it as how many black and brown people can we tolerate in Helsinki? Because the places that we say are too segregated are not. Like I've hung out in Kontula, I've hung out in Puotinharju. There are people from 20 ethnicities, if not more, including native Finns, all pushed out from our city, which is too expensive, which hates poor people, which hates the homeless. There are people who are talking to each other every day. While you go to Ullanlinna, there's just cameras, there's walls, there's gates with locks saying don't come in. I think that is the segregation. And I agree with Benjamin that we are looking at the wrong end of the stick when we are trying to fix segregation. I'm not saying that under-resourced suburbs do not need support. They do need support. And I'm all for this kind of extra social services and so on, where people who have lower incomes, who have problems with substance abuse, for example, are forced to live. But I also really think that if this kind of, for example, we've heard like people can go to Kerava, but are we ready to, for example, empty Lauttasaari and build a lot of city housing there and ask the people living in Lauttasaari to move to Kerava? So the whole idea seems so difficult, but we are doing the same thing in the eastern suburbs. For example, we are expecting people to leave their houses in Merirastila to be replaced by new swanky towers. So segregation has sort of become used as an excuse for pushing people out and uprooting their lives instead of being actually used as a strategy to create a better city for everyone. So I would see the problem as this sort of very monotonous. For me, as a foreigner who came here, the segregation is in our heads, and it is in Töölö and in Eira and Ullanlinna, and that's where we need to go catch the problem. Like, why are people walling themselves up? Why are people sort of wanting to live so far away? And why do we have people who proudly say that they've never been to Itäkeskus, that sort of thing, and even politicians who say that they've never been to Itäkeskus. So for me, the whole discussion needs to come from a different direction. Thank you.
Different direction. Very good point there. Thank you very much. I'll go to Well.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to repeat anything that have been said
Yes.
already. I can agree with everybody, almost everybody. I just want to add one thing. Segregating housing means segregating services, healthcare,
Yes.
schooling, communication.
Yes.
Yeah, and that here is the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very important addition. Very important one. Alena, do you have a...
So a conversation about segregation is difficult political conversation. So let's be clear in this context, equality is not that that your house is bigger than mine, or your car is faster, or you go to more expensive restaurants. This conversation focuses on the need of all citizens to have access to life requirements, no matter their financial or material status. A country's people should be treated in the same way by government. Equality in social context, which is what we are talking about, is about living in an honest life in a supportive community, a community that is safe for your family, a community where health, education, and social services are the same as other communities in the country, a community that feels it has government support. The question focused on community segregation and how we can work to solve the issue. My answer is that we work with the communities to provide the services they need to live in a rewarding life in Finland. Our focus should be on a quality of life, safety, education, health, and social services. Thank you.
Key points there. Key points. Education, health, social services. Key points there. Yes, Marek, what do you have to say about this?
Yes, I think most of the important stuff has been already said. So that means like we should really make the zoning and building like new residential areas, or like not only building new because new areas, but enhancing it, but while increasing the capacity of the current ones. We should really focus on that there is like the right mix of affordable housing, and also that if there is some like problem, or there like objectively there is some kind of segregation. If you go somewhere, for example, Itäkeskus, it will have completely different like ethnical mix than in Tele. So the question is also as well said, the like how does this affect, for example, the quality of education or healthcare services there, and if there are some problems, like we need to tackle those as well. Like it's connected also to housing, but it's not only about housing. It's about like really ensuring that the services are there for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah, like my co-host said that these things are intertwined. So one thing affects the other. So you are absolutely right there. Is there anybody that I have not called? I think Tommy has not mentioned anything yet, and Benjamin. What are your thoughts on this? Well, since we're running out of time, do you have anything to add, or you can counteract?
Thank you. If I may go first, I do have, I think this is a very important issue, and I think about it daily. When we're talking about segregation, I think we have misrailed a little bit in the conversation. We're just talking about, like, for example, one party that shall not be named mentioned that all immigrants should go to one school, but I think this is totally wrong way of doing it. This will create more segregation. But I would say that regional differentiation is not only due to income levels or so based on immigrant backgrounds, neither is it due to the integration of immigrants into the Finnish society based on cultural background or religion. Of course, they do have an effect, but the differentiation of neighborhoods is primarily due to the failure of the city's zoning and often unrealistic growth targets, leading to the zoning of housing in new attractive areas, and then leaving previously zoned areas not fully built up, which causes the area starting to differentiate. This results in a torso urban structure. For example, the public service level of schools, healthcare, everything is much lower than expected and needed by the residents. The need to move within the city from different parts to another is very high, and of course the areas do look different as well, and this will cause the more well-off residents not enjoying their own living environment, and the attractiveness of the area decreases when they move to the newly zoned attractive area within the city. And the people who stay behind, their social networks start to deteriorate, and the population structure starts to become much more one-sided. So my solution, or part of my solution, would be, in order to prevent the further development of regional segregation, it is that urban planning and zoning must be able to take full account of the needs and expectations of different age and ethnic groups of residents by creating a functional and comfortable living environment that promotes and maintains the well-being of all its residents. But for the city as well, the city has a very important role in building inclusion and bridging different groups together, so we can learn to understand and accept differences without seeing them as something bad and scary that threatens the Finnish society, but as something that revitalizes and strengthens it.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Tommy.
Long answer.
Yeah, but thank you very
Thank
important
you.
one. I mean, it's important that we can, like we always say that integration is a two-way street. So, and there is strength indeed in diversity, and we just have to make sure that that is
cultural exchange goes both
forward.
ways. I hate the idea that we often talk about immigration as something that immigrants should forget their identity. When you come to Finland, you have to become Finnish. I say we also need to adapt, and we need to hear and listen to your stories and find mutual ground and share these stories and experiences. And then we also, I think we have to start rethinking what it really means to be a Finnish in the 2020. Because culture is something static that changes all the time.
Yes. You're so on point there. Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution.
Thank you.
Last but not the least, I think Benjamin has not said anything on this topic before we move on. So Benjamin, please, I'll give you about a minute to say something on segregation. What is it that the city, or what would your party do to prevent that?
I think I started the discussion round on segregation.
Oh, you started the discussion, then I'm really happy. So I probably just wanted to but that's,
I mean, I can give a recap, but I think that would be unfair to other participants.
Yes, that's true. I'm really glad. Thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our viewers that are online. Lots and lots of comments. Unfortunately, because we're running out of time, I will not be able to read all your comments, and please, but I'm very sure that the candidates will have time after this session to go through all the comments. So we thank you very much, and keep the comments coming. So we have touched a lot. We've talked about complementary buildings, residential segregation, price of housing, discrimination in the rental house market, homelessness services in Helsinki. And I just want to remind our viewers that this is a local election panel, Helsinki, and we're having candidates that are representing different political parties, trying to tell you why or what to do with such an important theme, housing. It's a human right. Nobody should be homeless. And we're talking about people, the percentage is 34% of people living alone are homeless. And that number is even higher for families, you know, which is really, really something that is unthinkable. Yes, thank you very much. We will move, because we're really, really running out of time. We move to the yes or no, no question. And I will pass over the button to my co-host. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emma, once more. And thank you, to our panelists for such a brilliant exchange. I think it has been very educative, and I'm sure that you will go to the councils with a fresh impetus and fresh ideas, and I'm surely the housing issue in Helsinki will be taken seriously. So the yes or no questions goes thus, and please just indicate by thumbs up or thumbs down for a yes or no. So the price of housing in Helsinki too high?
Meaning yes, we agree.
Okay, so it's a unanimous yes. Very good. Housing advice should be offered to all citizens, not only for residents of Helsinki city's rental housing. Was it clear?
I think it was clear. Everybody's thumb is up.
Okay, thank you. Homeless services should be developed so that they would better answer the different needs of people experiencing homelessness. I think for me it's a yes, of course.
I think we are unanimous. Absolutely.
Yes. And I think this only goes to reinforce the fact that everybody on this panel agrees that housing in Helsinki is a problem and something needs to be done about it. So I hope that you guys from different parties with different policies will kind of find some common ground to make sure that the people of Helsinki get the housing they deserve. It has been said severally that this is a human right, so we should take that very seriously. On that note, I would, closing remarks from the panelists, and please, we keep this brief. So we will start with Severi.
30 seconds.
Closing remarks, 30 seconds, as quick as possible. Time management is not so easy. Severi, are you on?
Yeah. I can repeat what I have said. The human rights, living at Boulevard is not a human right. You have to have money to live there. I don't have that money, and it's okay for me. I can live where I can, and if I cannot live in Helsinki, I can live in Kerava or somewhere else. I can choose. It's a compromise. Yeah, about buildings. Yeah, I want to make Helsinki more dense, not to sacrifice green, and to build higher. And of course, complementary buildings and whatever, you have to torn down old buildings sometimes. And yeah, the city is a living instrument or something.
It's organic.
Organic, yes.
Yes. Thank you very much, Severi, for that input. And it was really a pleasure having you on this panel, and your contributions are valued. And I'm sure will go a long way to improve for the housing situation in Helsinki. Thank you very much. Tommy, please, the mic is yours. Tommy, are you there? Okay, I will move to Arvin. Please, the mic is yours.
Do I go or does Tommy?
Yes,
Arvin.
go.
Arvin,
yes,
you can
okay.
go.
I just want to remind everyone that Helsinki kuuluu kaikille is our party's platform. Helsinki belongs to all, and Hyvä elämä kuuluu kaikille is also the Left Alliance this city council election slogan, which is a good life belongs to all. So if you want to create a Helsinki which works for everyone, which doesn't decide you have to go to Kerava to find a good life, vote for us in the Left Alliance. We'll work for you whether you live in Kontula or Kruunuhaga, whether you live in Ullanlinna or Merirastila. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arvin. Thank you very much. That is inclusiveness. Thank you very much. Alena, please, the mic is yours. And please, you mute if you are not talking. I can hear a lot of music in the background.
So thank
please.
you. Yeah,
Mute,
thank you very much.
If you are not on. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all of you for the evening, for the discussion, and the questions we have, we will solve together, all together, because we just live here. We don't have any more choices, just to be in a connection and listen to each other and speak with each other. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alena, for that contribution, and thanks for being here today with us and to share your insights to this very important topic. Thank you very much. And then we'll move to Marek.
Yes, thank you. So housing is one of the many things that require transparent, democratic, and democratic meaning. It doesn't mean that you go once in 4 years and to vote, and then they can do whatever you want, whatever they want. It's about listening all the time, giving the people to the opportunity to speak, and also actively asking them what they want, and collect the data what they want, and work with them. And also it's the voters of course should as well like think about what have the people I have voted for, what have they done actually, how did they like follow their proclamations. So this is very important in order that we have really such decision making that cares about the people's needs and the environment, and whatever we need and whatever we appreciate in the city. So this is something that I would like, as a representative of the Pirate Party, I really want the transparent, data-driven, democratic decision making. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So those who are voting should take that seriously and hold your candidates to account when they are elected councillors. Next on the list will be Weil. 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, I
It's
need
Weil there.
Myself,
Yes.
sorry. I don't mind seeing houses or even villas with luxury swimming pools. In fact, it's nice to look at. It's nice to live in one of them. But housing, health, and education belongs to the people. It's not allowed to make huge profits out of these services. I mean, housing, education, and health. I would like to see a multicultural Helsinki with equal rights for everyone.
Thank you very much. That's nicely summarized. Thank you very much, Weil, for being here today and bringing all your insights to this very important topic. Thank you very much. Benjamin just left, so I will go to Seda for the last words. Then we will run it up.
I didn't leave. I have to leave very soon.
Benjamin is still here. Sorry, Seda, you don't mind to hold on a little bit. Benjamin, go.
Can I also have a say?
Sure.
Benjamin,
go first, Benjamin.
Guys, just my battery is really about to die.
Go,
all
Benjamin.
Right.
Go,
so,
you go. Yeah.
Okay. What I'm envisioning is a new vision for Helsinki, one that's built on better public transport, on more dense urban housing, and housing that works for you as a citizen. We need to build around 12,000 units of housing annually, every single year, for the next 15 to 20 years at least, to make housing in Helsinki palatable, price-wise, to the citizens, to make it a city that's affordable to live in. That's one hell of a task. And something the major parties, all the major parties in Helsinki have to agree upon that. That's the goal if we want to make Helsinki affordable. Basically, everyone says that they want to make Helsinki affordable. But when it actually comes down to numbers, when it comes down to the ambition to pursue the agenda and to make what needs to be done to achieve the numbers and to achieve the reduction in prices while actually increasing the population and quality of services and quality of life simultaneously, is going to require ambition. Helsinki is in an excellent position to achieve these goals if done wisely.
Very, very good conclusion there. Thank you very much, Benjamin, for being here today, and your input has been very valuable. So good luck as you go on.
Thank you for including me, and I have to leave right now. But it's been lovely, it's been a great panel, and I hope we'll do very well in the elections. All right, goodbye.
Yes, thank you. Okay, say that, please.
Yeah, I want to first thank you, HEAD Finland Association, and thank you, Paul and Emma, hosting, and thank you, viewers. For me and Coalition Party Kokoomus, we want to build Helsinki for everyone, no matter their age, background, and etc. I want to fight for better, healthy conversation culture. And I wish that you will go to my website, seidasohrabi.fi, and find out more in English what I am, where I come from, because there has been kind of talks that when you belong to a different certain party, or if you have certain views, your background is certain kind. And I think people, when they find out what kind of background I've had, maybe their views will change. I want to thank you all. Thank you, the viewers. And I want to just say that remember to vote and watch the Eurovision Song Contest that is coming this night. And we will fight for Finland for the win. And thank you very much for all.
Thank you, Mercedes. Your participation and all your ideas has been very valuable. We appreciate that. And good luck as you go on. Well, Tommy was left out. Tommy, please, 30 minutes, give your summary, and then we will go back to the host for the final conclusion.
Tommy,
30 minutes or 30 seconds?
30 minutes.
30 seconds.
So first of all, as well, like the other candidates, I want to start by thanking you for organizing this event, allowing me to participate, and thank you for all the viewers. I hope this was enlightening for everyone. And I would like you to know that when I work as a politician, you won't always hear about the decisions that I will make. So I feel it's very important that you know that I base my decisions in both in my own personal life and in politics in honesty, justice, equality, freedom of expression, diligence, and love of neighbor. So I'm running to become the Helsinki City Councillor so that when we are in the municipal council, you will be heard when decisions are being made. And we can work together to achieve economic, social, and environmental justice for all of us. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, Tommy. That is brilliant, and thank you very much for accepting and coming to share your insight with us. And good luck as you go on with your campaign and probably the election as well.
Thank you.
On my part, as the co-host, I will be. This might be my last time I will be speaking here. So thanks to the panelists, thanks to our viewers. All the contributions have been very instrumental, and I hope that we will build a better Helsinki for everyone. So I will go back to the host to round up for the day. Thank you guys once more very much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a 2 hours debate on very, very important topic or theme. I want to wholeheartedly thank first of all, your political parties, of course, because they sent you to participate in this panel discussion. I want to thank you for all your wonderful contributions. We are in this together. We have to build, a Helsinki that is, friendly, that is, suitable and is attractive for everybody, not just the native, but for the immigrants as well. I want to also thank our viewers, all those that have hung on with us for 2 hours and those that joined later. And of course, thanking those that are going to watch this video after this show or after this event. So I would also, because before I forget, somebody did ask a question post a question on the comment section, or it's not a question actually, it's a comment saying that we should have asked you guys tougher questions. I don't know how tougher the questions could have been, but I would want to use this opportunity to give a big shout out to Vera Vilkama, who is the project manager for Kato's program. And I don't know if you guys know about Kato's program. It's one of Moni Heli's program. And Kato's program's aim is to prevent migrant homelessness and to provide training for migrants and professionals about housing-related issues. So they provide advocacy work and cooperate closely with different organizations working in the field of housing and homelessness. So we want to thank them for providing us with these questions. And yes, those were tough questions, and you guys did your best. You didn't agree on all the issues, but that's understandable. That's why we call it a political debate. So we need debates like this. I want to thank Nana TV International for providing us with this platform. For us, by us, us, setting the pace for others and showing a good example. At least we have a place like this where we can meet together and talk about these things. But please, before I end, I would like to tell our viewers that we are just a few days to the start of, or I would say, advanced voting. So please, I want to remind you that advanced voting starts from the 26th of May and will end on the 8th of June. It is your right. It is your right. Your vote is your voice. And these gentlemen and women sitting in front of you, or that have presented and told you the things that they are able to do and their views on housing, they are the people that will be sitting there in the municipal council meetings and debating on this issue. So they need to hear from you. They need to know the things that you need. They need to be able to understand what your situation and your problems are. So please, once again, we wish all of you, dear candidates, good luck. Come latest 13th of June, we should know if you are voted in or not, but we can only say kudos and good luck to all of you for taking this huge step. It's a huge responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. I really hope that our viewers know and understand the huge hat that you're carrying, or that you're ready to carry or wear on your head, and we will wish you good luck with that. And thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, I will be signing out. My name is Emma Tamankat, and I've been the host. And to our technical director all the way from Canada, I say you are the best. Keep it on, and you never fail us. So we really, really wholeheartedly thank you very much. And our viewers, do have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. It's a sunny day, and do enjoy it. Stay safe, stay blessed, and we will be signing out at this point. Thank you.
An election assistant will assist you in the polling booth. 3. Use the pen to mark the number of the candidates you want to vote for on the ballot paper. Remember, do not write anything else on the ballot paper. 4. After marking the number on the ballot paper, fold it so that the number remains inside the fold and cannot be seen outwards. 5. With the ballot paper folded, go to the election officer in charge of the ballot box. They will stamp your ballot. 6. You will then drop the stamped ballot paper into the ballot box. You can then leave the polling station. Pretty simple. Remember, on the election day, the polling stations are open between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. Also remember to